Hello, everyone. We are Group 3 for the Duwamish River presentation. Today we'll be covering quite a few different topics on the Duwamish River, different aspects of it. I'm going to give the floor to Fun for the introduction.
About the institution, as you know, the Green River turned into the Duwamish in a circular for 20 miles and end at the Pellet Bay in the Seattle. And in 2009, the Duwamish Longtown and Cultural Center was opened in the west bank of the river. And over the year, the Duwamish River has been contaminated by the pollution since World War One. And as the Seattle was built, the Duwamish River turned into the wave of the world. And from our explore trip, field trip, our group will describe for you guys four main idea is about the history, the population, the conflict, and about the neighborhood, what they're thinking of. That first of all, Tree will describe for you guys about the history part.
Hi, I'm Chi. Secondly, in our presentation, I'm gonna talk about the Duwamish River historical. The Duwamish River has extremely long history and detail. However, I just can summarize and provide piece of a significantly important period. First and foremost, inhabiting their traditional homeland since around 8000 BCE. In the 1950s, Europeans settled down, and in 19th and 20th centuries, the Duwamish River became an industrial hub. Over the years, industrial activities along the Duwamish River results in environmental pollution. In recent decades, there have been efforts to address the environmental issue around the Duwamish River. Next, please.
Hi, I'm Eddie, and let's talk about pollution and the environmental challenges facing the Duwamish River. Pollution happens when harmful stuff gets into the air, water, or soil, making things dirty or unsafe for plants, animals, and people. This can come from factories, cars, or everyday items like plastic. Here in the Duwamish River area, we are dealing with the water pollution caused by the industrial activities. I found two specific examples on the government websites like epa.gov and ecology.washington.gov. The first example is the Boeing, the airplane company. They are close to the Duwamish River, and when they build airplanes, they use materials that can harm nature. For instance, if they are not careful, metals like chromium, copper, and zinc can make the river dirty. They also use chemical products like PCBs and PAH, which can stick around for a long time and make things unsafe for river life. Sometimes these metals end up in the river because Boeing doesn't dispose of them properly. Another example of pollution is the old gasification plant operated by Seattle Gas Company. Back in the 20th century, this plant turned coal into gas and created a lot of coal tar and other nasty stuff as a result. Over the time, these pollutants got into the environment, harming the land and the river sediment. Chemicals like PAH, which can cause cancer and stick around for ages, they were found in the coal tar. And of course, cleaning up this pollution has been a big job, and it's been risky for people's health and the environment. So both Boeing's activities and the old gas plant have made the Duwamish River very dirty with their harmful chemical product, and it's going to take a lot of effort and money to fix it up. On the next slide, I have some evidences of pollution. As we can see on the picture on the top right, we can see the used tires on the side of the river, and we can see that the color of the water is also a dirty color. Next, I'm gonna give the floor to Pacey.
So hi everyone, I am Pisai. So today I'm gonna tell you about the conflict between Boeing and EPA. So first is like, what is EPA? So EPA is Environment Protections Agency, which is cause like protect people and the environment from the significant hearers, sponsors, and conduct research and develop and effort environmental regulations. So what kind of conflict that Boeing and EPA had? The example is like the Boeing is they don't care about the natural the river, the Duwamish River. They only care about the money. And the EPA, they want to clean up the Duwamish River. So that's why they have the conflict with each other until now. There are three main points that I'm gonna tell you right now. So first is EPA intervention, second legal battles, third is community advocacy. EPA intervention has been involved in the addressing pollutions and holding industrial entities including the Boeing like accountable. So second is the legal battles. There have been ongoing legal disputes and like negotiations between Boeing and regulatory bodies regarding the responsibility for the pollutions control and clean up the like the effort. So the third is community advocates. So community advocates like local environmental activities and communities organizations like have been advocating for robust actions to address the environmental impacts and the conflicts in that area. As you can see this picture, the first picture, here is the Boeing and here is the Duwamish River. The Boeing, the Boeing company is like it's very close to the Duwamish River, so that's why like Eddie says, they always throw something dirty into the water, like the material when they made it, like the material. So the result is the water is dirty. If the neighbor eating the fish like salmons or like that, it will get cancers to dead people. That's why the vomit is dirty until now. Here's the neighbor live in the areas, but my teammate gonna talk about that.
Right. I am Blake, as I introduced myself earlier. So the picture that you have here is what's considered a wetland. What wetlands do is they're basically nature's filter, and the plants inside this wetland are taking all the oils and nasty stuff out of the river, and it's replacing it back into the river through a filtration system under the soil. So it goes down to groundwater, then it gets recycled through the watershed. What used to be here was a giant, I think it was like a giant parking lot or some kind of giant concrete surface, but they removed it so that it could reduce the amount of impervious surfaces that are filtering and going into the water. Go ahead and do the next slide. So here's an example of an impervious surface. Parking lots, rooftops count as impervious surfaces, basically any surface that's too dense to allow the water to flow through it and get that groundwater recharge and recycle through the watershed. These impervious surfaces, as obviously like as humans develop, they're creating more and more of these impervious surfaces, but luckily nowadays humans are a little bit smarter about what's good for the earth. So a lot of these impervious surfaces are getting removed if they're not being used. There's plenty of cases where impervious surfaces are actually all over the side of the Duwamish River and there's no use for them. They're just sitting there rushing off all this rainwater. The problem with that is that all the oils and the gas and any oil leaks in a vehicle, any like brake dust, all that gets caught up in the rain on these impervious surfaces and pushed into the Duwamish watershed. That previous slide back there showed the wetland that they had created. They're doing it to prevent all that nasty stuff from getting in there, especially from Boeing, because there's a lot of pollution on the surface of Boeing, and so all that like goes off the roof of Boeing, goes through their airport and through their parking lots, and just goes right into the Duwamish. Go ahead and go to the next slide. What's happening now is there is a huge push towards recreating the groundwater recharge on the edges of the Duwamish. The zone, it's generally 50 foot from bank full width of the river. So basically as far as the water goes up, it's 50 feet past that and down the river. That's what's considered the riparian zone. And so what people will do is they'll develop what's called a riparian management zone, where you're managing the plant life that's actually replaced back into that riverside habitat. What that does, as we were told at the field trip, what that does is that creates shade for the river, and fishes need cold water to swim. If the water gets too hot, they'll die. And so they need that shade from the plants on the side. Another thing that happens is as these crews come in and they replant these trees and plants and stuff, as the trees get older, they die and then they fall into the water. That creates habitat for fish to go up underneath it and be protected from predators. A couple things I want to point out about this slide is the map. Those two maps are actually part of the same PDF file. I got that PDF file from what's called urbanwaterslearningnetwork.org. And basically it's just a website that you can go to teach you about like the Duwamish watershed. That first one is the darker borders are the borders of the entire watershed that's going up past the Green River, up into the national forest there. And all that water, all that rainfall that goes up there comes all the way down the Duwamish and into the Puget Sound. And that's officially polluting the ocean. So we got to protect it as much as possible. The map on the right here, there's some green dots. Those green dots indicate areas where there's already restoration work being done. And the picture on the bottom is a restoration crew. I got that picture from NOAA.gov. NOAA is the National Oceanic Atmospheric Agency. Basically, they look at stuff like this, like any ecological issues that are popping up, and they try and take care of it, try and help take care of it. There's plenty of agencies that do the same thing, but they're all working together to make sure that this gets done. This right here was a volunteer event on the Duwamish River. I highly suggest going to one of these because anyone can sign up for them. You just got to sign a waiver that you're going to be using tools that might harm you. They'll plant plants such as the Western red cedar, ocean spray. It's called Indian plum. Like, what's another one? Willows. Willows are really good bankside protectors because they create that shade. There's actually a lot of different plants that are really good for. They're historically they historically grew along the side of the Duwamish River, and what these volunteers are trying to do, and all these groups that are trying to restore the plant life, the riparian zone along the Duwamish, they're just trying to restore it back to its natural state. All right, I've been talking long enough. I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to neighbors with. Who was the last person? Was that Coco? Oh no, sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. Hi, I'm Kokoro. I'm gonna talk about the neighbor of first community engagement preserves. Yeah. Initial local resident activity participate in cleaning up rivers, conservation programs, and community initiative to protect the river and its surroundings. For example, the Clean City Initiative has expanded effort to clear litter and illegally dumped trash, and additional need collection efforts have been implemented. Community members have expressed appreciations for the positive impact of these efforts on their neighborhood. Please. Yeah. And second, recreation opportunities. The river offers a ranging of recreational activities like kayaking, fishing, and bird watching, which allows people to connect with nature and enjoy the beauty of the river. This not only promotes physical activity and recreation, but also help build a sense of community among residents and visitors. And third, environment advocacy. The neighbors are taking a proactive approach to ensuring the long-term health and sustainability of the Duwamish River. Advocacy efforts can be a powerful way to bring about change and promote environmental stewardship. By working together and pushing for sustainable development, they can help protect the river and preserve it for future generations. It's wonderful to see community members taking an active role in protecting their local environment. Okay, that's it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thank you so much. Was the last one, right? Yeah, you're the last one.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us here today. We hope that you learned something. My teammates and I have had a lot of fun researching all this, so I'll talk to you later. Bye.